compared to American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff, nobody does it better than the good old USA. We. Does that mean the United States now has control over the skies in Iran? Does that mean that United States bombers and F-15s and jets are over Iran? Donald Trump is now seemingly confirming that the United States, either directly or indirectly, is involved with Israel in this war with Iran, which is a significant development right now as we speak. Now, the White House is definitely going to clarify this, so we'll see what happens next. Spread the word. I'll do a full breakdown on my Substack.
The Hard Rock Bet Casino app?
So, y'all saw what was floating over the ocean in Sydney, Australia this weekend, right? The black, terrifying mass that was just floating over the ocean? No? Well, if you haven't, don't worry. I'm going to show you at the end of this video, those videos, so stay for that. But yeah, in Australia this weekend, a dark, black, ominous, terrifying mass-like cloud was just seen and videoed floating over the ocean. Now, I did a little bit of research because obviously scientists are going to say that it's of natural causes, and it's something called a scud cloud. But I'm going to tell you what I believe. I believe it's a portal opening, and I believe it's something from another dimension breaking through. Now, you don't have to believe what I'm saying. You make up your own mind when you see the video. But the video looks very similar to other things that I've seen when I've been going down rabbit holes about portals opening. But I'm not here to tell you to believe one thing or the other. You make up your mind. That's not my call. However, also in Australia, they just confirmed that they're building the world's first black box to record the demise and destruction of the Earth. So, over the weekend, coming out of Australia, we have this black-like cloud just floating over the ocean, you'll see, and now Australia is creating the world's black box that's going to record our destruction. Now, remember, anything we talk about is for education, conversation, learning, and entertainment purposes only, so take what you will, leave what you don't want. That's not for me to decide your life. Now, watch the video and let me know in our conversations today what you think it is, because I know what I think it is. So, Yo,
I promise you, I'm not one of these people. I'm not one of these people that like sees things and like, oh, UFOs. But tell me what this is in the sky, because I promise you, me and my wife just saw this in the sky. I called her. She recorded it. Tell me what this is. Somebody. For the record, I live in South Alabama. Let's go on. Dude, what is that?
Dad?
For the record, ladies and gentlemen, this is TikTok. We're just going through the latest TikTok theories and news you might find interesting. But this is just theories, that's all. And let's continue.
I've never seen anything like that. And it's moving.
One would say that's Starlink.
What is that? I promise you, I'm not one of these people. I'm not one.
Current conditions in Ohio. It's Dippin' Dots. I'm going to hang out a little while until they send down the chocolate. It's my fave. Peace out, homies. Current conditions.
All right, welcome back. We are checking out the city. Boy, shining bright, looking good. Skies, dark, sunrise coming eventually. And we have been drawing that in a little bit, day by day. Of course, we've been just distracted by terribly cold, snowy winter weather. Today, less snow. Now, a couple flakes, sure. I don't see any major snows today. There could be some lake effect streamers that bring a quick little burst. Much likely, less prevalent than yesterday. But the snow for the season, it shouldn't shock.
Well, let's have that conversation none of us want to have, but we got to have. As of today, the new guidelines on TikTok have changed, and the full ownership now by Oracle for the American version has kicked in. Now,
and of course, get your reaction as well. So, late last night, I started getting the updates from inside the country. It's somehow the landline, well, not landline, the actual phone, mobile phones, every now and then it still works. So we are getting some phone calls, including from obviously my family, but we initially heard the 3 explosions last night, but then today, 2 explosions in Tehran have now also been reported. The latest one, as you can see in this image, was near Tehran's Azadegan highway around 5 p.m. local time. Now, of course, there are no mainstream media journalists on the ground, so the Islamic Republic's response is, as usual,
Iran has just launched missiles at U.S. bases. 6 missiles reportedly fired at a base in Qatar. That's the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East, and more aimed at a base in Iraq. Explosions were heard over Doha, air raid sirens, interceptors.
Do you want to know who the Antichrist is? Listen very carefully for these next few minutes. Everything begins and ends with the word. We're not going to know the answer until we get into it. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. The dragon gave him his power, his throne, and great authority. The purpose of this video is not to get into the details of what do the heads, the crowns, and the horns mean, but just to give you a quick summary. The 7 heads represent political entities, or some people even say 7 continents. The 10 horns represent kingdoms of the world, and the 10 crowns represent royalty and power. And the dragon represents Satan. Satan is the dragon. He is the serpent. And the dragon gives power to the beast, who is the Antichrist. And remember that everything that God does, Satan counterfeits. For example, that God manifested himself in human form, born of a virgin, Jesus Christ, and Satan is also manifesting himself in physical form, the Antichrist. Let's continue reading with verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed. Let's understand that a deadly wound doesn't mean that he died, but that he almost died. And all the world marveled and followed the beast, so they worshipped the dragon, who gave authority to the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him?" Notice that verse 4 says that they worshipped the dragon by worshiping the beast, because clearly no one is going to mess with the beast. No one wants to make war with this beast. And he, the beast, was given a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and he was given authority to continue for 42 months. So again, the beast speaks great things and also blasphemies, but that doesn't mean that those... Do you want to know who the Antichrist is? Listen very carefully.
Hello, everyone. Amanda Grace here. I want to show you some very interesting prophetic patterns with this snowstorm that is barreling right now towards the Northeast, especially New York. I want to focus on New York, okay? So, from 1/6 to 1/8/1996, there was a 20.2-inch snowstorm. 2006, exactly 10 years later, on February 11th, there was a 26.9-inch snowstorm. 10 years after that, 2016, right? January 22nd to January 24th, there was a 27.5-inch snowstorm. And exactly 10 years later, one day later, January 25th, 2026, this storm is set to begin. Look at all the sixes: 1996, 2006, 2016. First of all, look at all the sixes and the pattern that is forming here. But I'm going to show you something even more interesting. 1/6 to 1/8/1996, you can get 9/11 from that. February 11, 2006, 26.9 inches of snow, you can get 9/11 from that. January 22nd to January 24th, 2016, you could get 9/11 from that. And that is when President Trump took office for his first term as president. Now, 10 years later, one day later, January 25th, 2026, this storm is set to begin when President Trump is now serving his second term as president. These things don't seem to be accidents. They are prophetic patterns. And I'm going to show you something else as well. This storm is headed for the Northeast. It is headed for New York. New York is set to get hit hard if the Lord does not intervene, maybe, and move that storm. But right now, Zohran Mamdani is the mayor of New York City. He took office with the help of Governor Kathleen Hochul of New York and AG Letitia James, who swore him in on a covenant with the Quran in an abandoned subway stop beneath the city this past month, January 2026. The man is Haman, hidden within his name. You can actually spell Haman from his name, the enemy of the people of God, in the book of Esther. Esther has 10 chapters. Haman has 10 sons. And 10 years after President Trump took office for his first term, in his second term, while Zohran Mamdani, a man that has Haman in his name, became mayor in New York City, 10 years later, one day later, this storm now is set to move. Something is happening in the realm of the spirit. Things are trying to align and lock up. We are watching this actively happen. So we just have to be watchmen, keep watch of these patterns, and intercede and pray. Keep the faith, everyone.
That just started coming in a second ago. Wow.
There's a pattern of uncertainty all over the world, and it's being played out on camera on all social network platforms. Doesn't matter which one you use the most, the activity is the same, just like this man's meteor radar is what that actually is what he's looking at. Is a meteor radar. It records interference in the atmosphere, but there's a theme here on TikTok, just like it is Facebook, Trashbook, Instascam, ScumTube. The frequency of the earth is uneasy. It's at unrest. We're in a dead season. A lot of things happening. A lot of spiritual things happening. Then we're having a battle coming out of this dead season into the spring, as we're already looking at February, then going into March. This is the last month. Are we watching spiritual warfare right now in the heavenlies that we cannot see being manifested naturally because it's causing magnetic interference all over the place? Okay. And you see people breaking down certain things, just as God said, I'm pouring out my spirit in the end times of the last days, calling all to repentance. I suffer no one to perish. All of us are outlets and channels, I say conduits of getting messages out. Because the word says that no one human brain can counsel the mind of God. So if he says I'm pouring out my spirit on all flesh, that means I have many things to say. And there are billions of people on the earth who can be a mouthpiece for the Most High. And then even that ain't enough. Because still a lot of people are watching and listening but ain't paying attention either at the same time. Some of us are. And so I know we all use different kind of platforms, but even when you get on Rumble, whatever platform it is, everything is spewing the same thing. Let's continue on as we just go through random videos, okay?
We're in a debris field. That's a big one. They've been coming in all morning. Comes another one.
Have you seen Message to Americans? If you haven't, take 2 seconds and search in your search bar, Message to Americans. Apparently, there's people all around the world trying to warn us. And Message to Americans, if you just search that, you'll see. Have you seen Message?
This social media game is rigged. Listen to this shit. So I'm seeing video after video of people saying if you block Oracle, your algorithm will reset. Your TikTok will reset. And me not believing, I'm like, nah, that shit ain't gonna work. Because remember, it was like block Meta, block Facebook, block Mark Zuckerberg, shit like that. And I deleted my post on the latest shooting in Minneapolis. I can't believe I just said that, the latest shooting, because obviously we understand a lot better now. There are videos that you can watch of this latest shooting involving Mr. Preddy, ICE, and another U.S. citizen, a nurse this time. And look, they're dueling narratives, investigate, get the facts, and do what justice demands. But the video accounts show a very troubling episode that beg for accountability and de-escalation. And it has to start with the government. Okay, we have to start at the top. These are the people who are charged with knowing how and insisting on de-escalation.
What's happening in Mexico right now is being hidden from you, and there's a reason for it. If you don't know what's happening in Mexico City right now, go up to the search bar and just put in Mexico City and find out exactly what's happening, because they're literally suppressing these videos. And why would they be suppressing these videos? Because they don't want it to happen here. What's happening in Mexico right now is being hidden from you, and there's a reason for it. If you don't know what's happening in Mexico City right now, go up to the search bar and just put... If you like history, watch this video. A little long, but very interesting.
There was a time about 100 years ago when the United States military knew exactly who the real enemy was. And it wasn't Russia, and it wasn't China. It was Britain. In the 1920s, the U.S. military developed something called War Plan Red, a detailed contingency plan for war with the British Empire, with Canada as Britain's proxy. And right now, Donald Trump is dusting off a modern version of that same plan. Now, if you're watching the mainstream media, they're telling you Trump is recklessly threatening our alliances with his demands about Greenland. And Britain's premier foreign policy outlet, Chatham House, is now saying this about the United States. European leaders will remain concerned about Europe's ability to defend itself with a more unpredictable and even hostile U.S. And Chatham House also reported that in December, Denmark's military intelligence service classified the United States as a security risk for the first time. But here's what they're not telling you. Trump isn't threatening our alliances. He's ending 80 years of British control over American foreign policy. And he's doing it by reviving the strategic clarity that our military once had when they created War Plan Red.
So, in essence, if little Catherine said Donald Trump was elected the last president and she saw nuclear war following him and coming towards the United States, so in everything that he's doing with this woman, and I thought about this too, if he's coming in and changing things and removing, because I saw another clip where he said, this was on public television. He said, and they decoded it as him saying, the old New World Order must go, and there must be a new order. See, I keep telling people for a long time, people don't realize that Mr. Trump is a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Mason. It's the highest that you can go. And he is at the top of the food chain. So there's a lot of things that he's doing that is breaking down the old system, which would cause all guns to be pointed at him and this country, because in his mind, he's trying to bring and rebuild the United States to where it had become a slave nation, giving out all of our goods and exporting all of our stuff that we make and then buying cheap stuff from other folks. In his mind, that's what he believes he's doing by resetting that. But upon resetting that, he's making enemies because he's overthrowing the old world order. I'm going to stop the video right here. There's so many of these kind of videos and just other videos of things happening in the atmosphere, but there are just too many. But this is the one thing that I've been thinking about lately, about what we see in the prophetic things said about Trump leading us into war. In his mind, I truly believe in his mind, as a 33rd, because he had the plaque up on his wall at Mar-a-Lago in his first term. I believe, no, right as he got in the office, you can clearly see the plaque. And if you look it up, there are other symbolizations of it because his mother was Scottish. So it's just a redoing of the old guard setting up the kingdoms, okay? And we're witnessing that. But at the same time we're witnessing that, we're witnessing turmoil in the earth, physically and spiritually. So let's just keep holding on and continue to pray that we are worthy of escape.